Hello, everyone, and welcome to Club Extra here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. I am Scott Carney, and joining me tonight for our usual kind of catch up and international break is Stevie Clifford. Stevie, how are you?
Good, mate. I'm good. How are you? Are you good? I hope everybody is good that's watching as well.
Yes, I hope everything's good. Yes, we've just had a quick chat. I nearly killed myself as I got off the couch to come upstairs there, mate, and my missus found it hilarious. But yes, I've survived and I've got here. So yeah, no, I'm good, mate. I really am good, and I again always appreciate you coming on. How today? Obviously, we'll start there, mate. That you were at the cup final, the women's team cup final at Tynecastle, and just before we've recorded, there's been a lot of hilarity due to a mat that's been released. First of all, mate, some performance by I actually watched the game today. Some performance by the women's team, some really good goals there as well, but thoroughly deserved winners, absolutely no doubt. But it's another trophy in the cabinet, mate.
Yeah, listen, Rangers are all about winning, isn't it? So it doesn't matter who you play for or what level you're at. You need to win games, and it's great for Jo to get our first trophy. She's been great since she first came in, and she's really good to deal with. Very friendly, always willing to give interviews and do um, whatever you really need to do from a pod perspective and stuff like that. And she's been great. She really has, and I'm delighted for her today for her to get her first trophy. Nick Docherty gets her first trophy as captain as well. But overall, I thought the Thistle were actually decent for 20-25 minutes, but just couldn't really keep that pace up. And Rangers being the professional team, just kind of dealt with that and then kind of pushed them aside quite easily as it should be. And it was 4-1 going on. However many Rangers wanted it to be, I think. But I'm glad that it didn't go silly, because in a cup final, like national game and everybody watching and everything else, and for Thistle as well, who've done really well to get there, I wouldn't have wanted to turn into an absolute hammering. Rangers have got the win, got the job done, so it's great for the women. Enjoy tonight and then refocus, because like the men, that's the first one in the bag, and there's still two more to go and get. So it could end up being a great season for the women, and hopefully for the men's team as well. A double treble would be very much welcome, Scotty. Very much welcome.
Just a wee bit, mate. Yes, a double treble would be fantastic. But yeah, the performance was good, and you're right. There was definitely a difference between the professional and the part time team. But I thought Rangers thoroughly deserved the win, and really good goals. And even Thistle's goal was a peach as well. That was an absolute cracker of a strike. I was like, what a goal that is, by the way. At any level, that's a cracker of a goal. And I mean no disrespect, but that's an absolute peach of a goal. But yeah, it was a thoroughly deserved win. So we've just been having a laugh, mate, and we're trying to contain ourselves as we were doing the intro about the mat fiasco that has happened. Hearts have released a statement because Rangers have put a Rangers mat down on top of the Hearts crest in the home dressing room. Have you ever seen anything like this in your entire life? I just put up the meme of what's his chops from the Office. What's his name? Why have I forgot his name? The main guy, the guy in the office, he's just laughing. Why can't I remember his name? That's terrible. I'll come back to me about halfway through this pod of him just laughing at this, and it very much is. We can offend the entirety of Scottish football by doing nothing, mate. Literally by doing nothing.
Everything we do is over exaggerated. Just it's actually quite funny. I couldn't believe it. So when I first started reading it, I was like, "What have the girls done in this dressing room? Like, have they, went wild and done something?" And the worst about it all, from a Hearts point of view, is we do the same thing like everywhere we go, and even the men's team do it. I'm not sure if it's a rug or a actual boarded kind of crest or whatever it is we put down. Take it away. It's not like we've nailed it down there, Scotty, and just kept it there for 2 years since our last visit and stuff like that. But I can't believe they've released a statement just to say that we didn't agree to this happening. Like, nobody cares, mate. Nobody. You've just made yourself. Mind, we used to do the amazingly daft statements. Like, you've just made yourself what we used to do. So, but I just found it amazing that level of insignificance, because it's Rangers, suddenly becomes like a massive issue. I sincerely doubt if Thistle were the home team and that picture had came up and there was a Thistle badge down there or whatever, that anybody would have cared or even blinked their eye. And the fact that they haven't highlighted it 2 years ago when we did it, it just makes it seem completely silly. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there with Hearts and what wee guy was offended enough to rattle out that statement. It's not even like it's several paragraphs. Just like
No, and there's a bit in it. It's not a Hearts matter anymore. It's now between the Rangers and the WPL board, and I was like, what? I was like, how can this go that far? Like, how can that be as ridiculous as that? It is. I know it's what made it worse for me. I was going, Hearts weren't even in the final. Like, why the hell are you bothered? Like, why are you bothered about something like that? Crazy, mate. Absolutely crazy. But
as I said, like at the end of today, we would have just lifted it up and took it home. That badge would still be there. You know, there's nothing wrong. And why they've just like I don't understand why everything in our league is so tin pot all the time. Why does everything has to be such a big, massive, mammoth issue? They couldn't have just picked up the phone and went, "Here, ladies," or whatever, if they were that offended by it. But to put out a statement, like,
ridiculous.
just where does it end? Like, where does it end in this league? It's just. It's funny for us, but at some point as well, you're just like, "Can't you just give it a rest?" Everything we do, literally, people greet about it, and it's honestly,
it'll all stem from the fact that we've got a manager that actually knows how to manage a first team football team as well, mate. So it all stems from the fact that Rangers might be doing quite well again.
Listen, you know you're absolutely right, because I actually made this point a few weeks ago on Twitter that the issue isn't, you know, Rangers, because it was all fine and dandy when Beale or whoever was in charge and we were getting our arse handed to us. The issue is that, you know, Rangers might actually be on the pathway to doing something decent, and Scottish football can't handle it. It's a lovely thing, and I really hope that we're in a position over the summer to absolutely lord it over everybody else, because they deserve that. But you know, there's a long way to go before we get to that. But I just feel that like it's just tiring how tin pot everything is. A rug or a mat or whatever it was they put down has caused Scottish football outrage on a Sunday evening for a women's game that 4,000 or 5,000 people attended. It's really not a big deal, guys. Like, genuinely, is like, nobody cares. So,
it just is. It isn't at all. It isn't at all. It's very funny, mate. It is. It's hilarious. I laughed. I did. I laughed when I was reading through it. Just how serious the statement was as well. I was like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I mean. Like, see, when you first read it, I'm like, oh, what have they done in that dressing room? Like, what has went on? They spray painted the walls and all that WAD and stuff like that. No.
Yeah. Oh, ridiculous.
Oh dear.
Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, we shall move on a little bit. We'll get to the Rangers stuff, like the first team men's stuff, I promise. But well, obviously we've spoke, but I've not had you on the podcast since the live show, mate. Did you enjoy your night at the live show?
Yeah, the live show was absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? So I think you boys absolutely smashed it out the park, and I was privileged to come along and guest at it. So, you know, it was a very easy night for myself. It was you boys that did everything and arranged it, particularly you, Scott. So I'm hoping that there'll be another one, and you know, in a couple of months where we've got a lot more to celebrate. So I loved every second of it, mate. As I said, it was a privilege to meet so many nice people, and even managed to recruit Shona on that night for 4 lads, didn't I?
Yes.
So
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
It was a good night for us. So yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant night. Loudon was great, and it went well. And obviously having the women's game on at the same time against Celtic can added a wee bit of excitement to the punters as well. So listen, it was good fun. I'd really like to do it again. I'd love it if, as I said, in a couple of months' time, we were able to go, right, everybody turn up to Loudon on Friday night. We're having a champions party or something like that, you know, and just do a live pod where everybody just goes on the stage and goes, well, we're champions. It doesn't matter what we talk about, kind of thing. So, you know, it was great, mate. And as I said, I'd love to do it again. And for everybody that came along and were so nice on the night, and everybody that supports Club 22, and that, it was brilliant. So much appreciated. It was a really nice welcome.
No, it was a privilege to have you, and it was something we enjoyed, mate. We did enjoy. And all I will say is watch this space this week, everybody. So there is something very much in the pipelines. So it will be happening soon. It will be happening soon. Well, the announcement will be happening soon. Anyway,
It's a high boot, guys. Yes.
The Hydro's booked, mate. Yes, we're big time now, mate. Big time. 65 quid a ticket.
Don't put a Club 22 podcast badge down, whatever you do.
No, God, don't do
or a
that.
mat.
No.
Can you imagine the outrage?
You can't even leave a branded beer mat anywhere either. You have to take that with you as well, because God knows what the offence we will cause. But no, it was a great night. Really was a great night, and it was something we're very much looking forward to doing again. So keep your eyes peeled, everybody, because it is very, very, very soon the announcement will be made. We will move into Rangers things since we last spoke, Stevie. Not including the friendlies, 11 wins, 10 of them were consecutive wins. 2 defeats, the 2-1 defeat to Motherwell, and the home defeat to Benfica in the second leg. 1 draw as well, which is obviously against Benfica on the first leg. We're in one less competition than we were the last time we spoke. However, it would be good to start with what you make of our Europa League run this season. For me, I think it's one you can hold your head up high about, considering the kind of injury list that we've had. Clement bringing in a couple of players, and it's obviously not his team as such, even though I'm not a massive fan of that saying, but you'll get where I'm coming from. But in terms of a Europa League run, I was happy enough with it. I thought we could have done a wee bit better, but I'm more than happy with it.
I think that after being beaten by Aris Limassol out there in what was a pretty horrific night against a team that were pretty grim, and then drawn with them at home, equally as disappointing, I think, in a weird, strange way. To then go to Betis and win that 3-2 was absolutely fantastic. Beating Betis home and away, great. And then to go to Benfica and put in such a strong performance with a team that really was running on empty and injuries all over the place was fantastic. And then at home, I think the home leg just kind of summed up where we are a wee bit, and which we'll most likely come to. But over the course of the 2 games, Benfica were a Champions League team, probably do quite well in this tournament. I think they'll beat Marseille in the next round. And, they could be a semi-finalist, kind of finalist type team. So all credit to them. They won it fair and square, but they won it by 1 goal, Scott. It's not like they thrashed us or pushed it out of the way. That could have went either way. I still think it's what we discussed and what I've said previously, that we're a ball here or a striker away from being a pretty decent outfit under Clement. So I think we've done ourselves proud winning the group and getting through. Benfica feels like it's a wee bit of a missed opportunity because it was so close. And I think having went twice ahead in the away leg, possibly, we could have snatched something. But the home leg just, it kind of summed up a wee bit of where we are in terms of final third. And I'm sure we'll get to it, but no complaints. A little bit of disappointment getting beaten by Benfica. Even with me saying they're good in their Champions League side, I think everybody maybe felt that we were close enough to possibly get something. So that's a disappointment. But otherwise, it could turn out to be a blessing in disguise, because this squad is pretty thin. It's not with too many options. So to not have that extra competition, probably not a bad thing in the long run. And I don't think sorry, just to quantify that a wee bit more, I don't think we were winning that. If you get Liverpool or somebody, I think it's quite possible you're getting yourself a really bad result again. So if you look at the way they kind of took apart Prague and things like that, easily, unfortunately, I think that we are maybe slightly higher than Prague, but round about that level. And I would be worried that would happen to us. So I would rather avoid that and the cataclysmic sort of eruption that could cause in the squad with physically, mentally, and you're trying to get a run in for the league and stuff like that. I think we might find that all in all, this is probably the best place for us to go out. And yes, we would have loved to have won it. We would love to have another run and everything else. And let's not disguise that. The disappointment's real for going out, but I think we need to be realistic over it as well, mate.
Yeah, I think we will always say that I want Rangers to win and I predict Rangers to win, because I genuinely do. That's the way that I think about the team. But after the result, against Benfica Ibrox, I left and I immediately met Alistair after it. Ali from the pod, I immediately met him after it on the concourse, and I'd accepted it pretty much instantly. And I don't usually get like that with a Rangers defeat, but I'd accepted it pretty much instantly, and I went, that was just a wee bit of a stretch too far for us. We weren't a million miles away. We've limited them to one goal from open play, and I thought you can't really ask for much more of the team from where we were at that point. And I was disappointed yet, but I wasn't my usual. I wasn't like I was after the Motherwell game, for example. I was much more pragmatic about it. I was much more right. Okay, look, you've got to look at where we are. We've got to look at also what's really important this season. And yeah, I want to go and win the Europa League, of course I do. But again, I don't want to paint the wolf. Again, from what you've just said, we get Liverpool, we ain't beating Liverpool, it's not going to happen. In a final, possibly, you never know what's going to happen. But that opens another can of worms about a final of Liverpool and Rangers in Dublin. That would have been interesting to see, I'm not going to lie. But the overall take on the run for me, I was like, we probably just got to where we were in terms of where the squad is right now, and I was happy enough for us to go out. Still good financially for the club, and yeah, we can move on and hopefully get a better run next season. That's what you've got to hope for. Champions League even would be pucker. The league mate's looking much better, obviously, from the last time we spoke as well. We were sitting first by 2 points, obviously, but now since the postponed game and the fiasco that followed the Dundee carry on at Dens Park, we've got one game in hand to play after the Old Firm. Barring the 2-1 defeat at Ibrox, it's been win after win, really, domestically. What's your thoughts been on what Clermont's done since then, since the last time we spoke? Obviously, the Motherwell one was a bit of a shock. No, I don't think many of us seen that one coming, whether the eye was took off the ball or whatever. I'm not 100% sure. There's different opinions on that one. And yeah, you can have your say on Dens Park as well if you wish.
I think important, to kind of focus on the positives, which was after getting beat at Parkhead, at the end of the year, we were all pretty down the dumps. I think the gap was maybe, I can't even remember what the gap was, possibly 8 points or something by a game in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it was looking pretty bleak, and you were just thinking, well, you were kind of resigned to the fact that this is going to be another nearly season, another nearly year. But Clermont's done okay, and that's how I kind of rationalised it. But then they came back really strongly, beating Kilmarnock. They had their wee break, and then they just started kind of swatting teams aside, went to Easter Road, won that quite comfortably. And then they've kind of went on a wee run. They've beaten Aberdeen at home. They've beaten Kilmarnock away in that run, in that period, and albeit later on in the kind of 10-game run. But these are games you thought they would slip up. And the more that, like, after coming back at Rugby Park, after being 1-0 down and 2-1 up, you get that wee feeling, don't you? You think, listen, this might be our year, because stuff like that happens. And then their results, obviously, the other side of the city, when they're dropping at places and dropping at home and stuff like that, you think this isn't going to happen. And then even small margins, or small wins, gains, like the one where they draw on the Saturday and we need to go to Perth on the Sunday, and you would think that maybe we'd struggle, and we have struggled. You go and win that 3-0, and you just start to think that, right, this could be, something might be happening here, but your head instantly tells you, right, you're not allowed to think like that, because we don't think like that. We don't allow ourselves. But I think overall, before we look at the kind of, if we look at it right up until Motherwell, I think that the team have been great, running on empty at times. I think there's been some outstanding performers in there, mate. I really do. Like, so John Lundstrom's been great. Obviously, Jack Butland has been great. Ridvan Yilmaz has come right out of nowhere and been a consistently good performer at left back. Obviously, he gets injured when he's in international, obviously, because of the way our injuries are going. And they've been great. Fabio Silva's kicked on a wee bit on the left. Cyril Dessers is a 9-1 week and a 2 the next. Or a 9 minute and a 2 the next minute kind of thing. But, in fairness, like, they've all pitched in at a time where you think, if you consider the likes of Sima, Cortez, Danilo, all these guys out injured, and we went on a run like that, I think it's been great. And then what's happened is, I think that when you look at the likes of the Hearts 5-0 game and stuff, and that degree of chances that we'd be missing, which seems silly to say in a 5-0 game, but even in the other games, when it's come to the Motherwell game, they spooked us a wee bit because they went for us a wee bit and we missed chances. And if you think back to that defeat, remember Silva's had a chance, Dessers had a chance, and they've had a goal disallowed from 50 odd minutes from offside, and then they do get back on terms, and they kind of never really settled properly and recovered. There wasn't enough up front. And it started that bit of injuries and maybe the lack of wide men, and even talking about guys like Rabbi Matondo and stuff like that, different options weren't available in that game. And I just feel like the missed chances and the injuries finally caught up with them a wee bit. Now, they got their get out of jail free card played the next day because Hearts obviously bailed us out with their victory at Tynecastle, and that allowed us to kind of not fall behind or anything. I think psychologically, if we'd fallen behind, it might have taken a wee dent there. But they're still in good shape, Scott. Like, I've got nothing but plaudits for the job that Clement's done and the job that the players have done collectively and individually. There's been a few massive performers in there. And if you'd offered me the possibility with 9 games left and said a League Cup would be in the bag and we'd have a realistic shot of a league challenge with 9 games left, whereas it was all still in our own hands, and I would have grabbed that. I would have grabbed that immediately. So I've got nothing but praise for them and hope, mate. I'm hopeful. And it's a hope that kills you. I know we've said that in the past, but I'm not making any big shouts about what we might do. For me, it's just a game at a time. Every game is going to be difficult. You play Hibs, they're fighting for top position. Then you play Celtic at Ibrox, and we fancy ourselves. Of course we do, but there's the added bit of we've not beat them properly in a long time, and I think that's fair. We can't hide from that. We've not beaten them in a big game in a long time. And, and then you go to Ross County, who are fighting to stay up. Then you go to Dundee in the rearranged game, and they're fighting for the top 6. Every game has got potential to be sticky, potential to be difficult, especially for us with our squad the way it is. But, they just need to go. They just need to take it one game at a time. It goes week to week now, doesn't it? More or less, apart from Dundee during the week.
Apart from Dundee.
Yeah, it goes week to week, and we're really now at the squeaky bum time where anything can happen. Anything can happen, and even their games, like you've seen, games that they've had this season where likes of Kilmarnock taking a point off them and taking a couple of points off them with a draw at Parkhead and stuff like that. These are results that you've not really expected, even though Kilmarnock are decent and have done well against them. And I think they've got an easier kind of split run before it goes to the split, and then they've got home games and stuff like that. Anything can happen in these games. Anything can happen. I don't think they're quite in the position that they once were, like with regards to kind of strength and performance-wise. So it's up to us just to make sure that we keep winning. I think it's vital, Scott, and I don't often say this, but, there's obviously you can get round it and things like that, but I think it's vital that we take them at Ibrox. I think that is going to be huge psychologically, as well as what it'll do points-wise and things in the league. I think that's clear. But if we want to have any realistic opportunity at this title, any realistic chance, and mentally to give ourselves a boost that maybe we can do this, we have to beat them at Ibrox. And I think that changes the dynamic of everything, because as I said, we've not beaten them properly. Yeah, we beat them 3-0 last season, dead rubber game. We've not beaten them properly when it counts for a very long time, and I think that's something that we need to arrest if we want to be champions. And that brings us full circle to where we are, which is, do we have the strength up front to beat somebody like them? Do we have because I think we're quite comfortable at the back. I think we're okay in midfield. I think that showed against Benfica. But when you get to that final third against Benfica, which I fear in these type of games, I think that's where we might be, Scott. So that's my worry or my concern, but we'll deal with that when it comes to it. I would love to get a few bodies back. Where's Seema? Is Seema coming close to being fit? Could he maybe be back? Is there a possibility that Yilmaz's injury isn't career-threatening, as it seems to be with everybody that's got injured this season? It's almost like, somebody's banged their knee in training, should be fine, and then the next day, like, they're head to toe in bandages with the obligatory thumbs up hospital message, you know. So I'd really like to avoid that with Red Van and get him back as quick as possible, and just really go and have a go at this and see where it takes us. I'd love to be in a position just to say, well, let's decide it on our own, not by having to rely on others or do it. We've got 9 games. If you win those 9 games, as difficult as that is, and it will be difficult, and I don't think they will win all 9 games because there'll be ups and downs, but it's in our hands, so let's go and affect it how we want to do it. Let's go and try and win it on our terms and do it our way. So if you'd offered me that at the start, mate, I would have grabbed it completely. I don't know how you feel about the kind of bigger games and where we are. I'm just taking it one game at a time with that wee bit of excitement and optimism, but I'm grounded with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's there for us, the fact that we are in with a chance, and the fact that the fate is in, in our hands, is something that we've not had, I don't think, in quite a while. And when we have a chat with the lads about it, we are very much the same. We don't tend to let ourselves dream about what could potentially be at the end of this season for us. However, again, I've got to completely agree with what you said about the Old Firm. I think it's imperative for Rangers to win following Sunday. I'm getting my days confused up. The Old Firm, the upcoming Old Firm, Rangers have to win that. And a lot of people said, "Oh, we need to go out and we need to do them. We need to put one over on them." We just need to win that game. We do just need to win that game, and then you get the chance to win your game in hand, and all of a sudden there is a gap there, and it's a sizable gap. It's a Rangers can afford a defeat kind of gap, and that's, I think, would be just huge, absolutely huge. And that's when I think, if that is to happen, and I know, look, it's a tall order, then that's when I think a lot of Rangers fans, I think, will start to let themselves think, oh, hang on a second here, this is actually the real possibility of happening. Right now, it has to be a game at a time because of the state of the squads. And as you said, the squad and the injuries are just constantly piling up. Yilmaz is probably going to come back on crutches and be locked in the chamber thing that they've got for the rest of the season, and we're probably not going to see him because that seems to be our luck. I really hope that's not the case, and I think even Friday's upcoming press conference that will happen before the Hibs game is going to be one of the eagerly anticipated press conferences we've had, because there's been this break, because we're hoping to bring bodies back, we're hoping to have bodies fit for this run in towards the end of the season, and it's going to be critical for that. I agree, my concern is the striker. And I'm not bashing Dessers. I've said on the previous pod that I've kind of accepted what Dessers is, so I don't get too upset when he misses chances, because I go, well, yeah, of course he missed it, because that's who he is, and there's no point in me getting angry about it, because that's just the striker that he is. It's not like Clement can't make the guy finish the ball better, if that makes sense. He just has to finish the ball, put it away, and he tends not to. But that's the real concern, is the strike force. Obviously, Kamar Roof's coming back. We don't know how long he's going to actually be able to withstand any sort of serious minutes in his legs. He has to be tested. He's failed many hurdles of that before, and I'm not writing him off before it's happened. I'm just giving you a pure fact about what we've seen. But that would be the real concern for me, is the front line. Whether he tries something different, I'm not sure. I think Silva's shown at times when he's played out on the left-hand side. I think especially the first leg against Benfica, I thought he was tremendous, absolutely brilliant. The second leg, I thought he was nullified a bit. But again, it could be an option. It could be something that they're not really expecting, and it's all brewing to a crescendo. Do you know what I mean? It's all going to happen, and it's all going to go one way or another, and it's exciting to be involved in it. As Stevie, you won't mind me saying, you're old enough to know, and I'm old enough to know what a title race is like. A lot of people haven't experienced stuff like this. It's sweaty palm stuff the whole time, literally the whole time. And I got the fear, I'm not going to lie, she could be off Motherwell. I went, no chance. I can't believe this is going to be the game that's going to derail it. But obviously Hearts gave us the get out of jail card, as you said, but we're very much still in it. Going forward, though, it's going to be critical to get players back, not even for the run-in, but also for the chance of winning the Scottish Cup as well. Hearts at Hampden, we're going to need players back, we're going to need bodies back. I know we've got Scott Wright, who will probably score against Hearts at Hampden, and that'll be it for Scott Wright at Rangers. I know you like Scott Wright, I'm not bashing him, mate, I'm just saying. But that's the thing with the rest of this season, the run-in, it's going to be who we have available, I think, isn't it, for the run-in?
Yeah, but with a wee bit of adversity comes, the opportunity for these guys to make themselves heroes. We talk about Dessers and, the big man's done fine. I think he's rammed in, quite a few goals as well, but we need him. It could be funny that in 2 months' time we could be talking about Cyril Dessers as a guy that fires Rangers, to a title. So we need that to happen. And that's what I mean by, in adversity, these guys can make themselves heroes because they can. Now's the time to kind of shine. And I think that mentally, what I would want these players to be doing during this break, and I'm looking at the likes of Todd Cantwell, the likes of Cyril Dessers, the likes of Tom Lawrence, who are going to be vital players. And they're good enough. These boys are good enough. They should be mentally getting themselves in the position where they're saying, every game's a cup final, and I could potentially make myself a Rangers legend. And to do that, I need to be on it every single minute of every game. So these are the guys, your Lunnies, your Connor Goldsons, your James Taverniers, who continuously, will have to go through the mill in this kind of running. And listen, I believe in them a lot more now than I did 6-7 months ago when it was all looking very much like they've shown some amount of balls to come back from that position under the new manager. And then they've shown it again at New Year getting beat by Celtic. And then, by the way, they've shown it again when they got beat by Motherwell. They went to Benfica. Then they came back at Easter Road in a really tough place and won that cup game, which was a potentially huge banana skin. They managed to do that. Obviously, that was our fault that Hibs got them boys sent off and we were on the pitch in their way. And they were obviously innocent while they were, hurling themselves through the ground or through the air at like 60 mile an hour, 2-footed and all that. That was obviously our fault. So apologies for that. But, this squad continued to answer. And I think that, or my hope is mentally that they would be focusing on getting themselves in tune for what's going to be a pretty epic run in, mate. And something you said about Motherwell and kind of, thinking after the game, myself and David Edgar were driving home and stuff, and we just said that after the run they've been on, things like this happen. I'm old enough to remember, Motherwell beating us in the 9-in-a-row game. I'm old enough to remember Kilmarnock ruining 10 in a row with that league win. I'm old enough to remember Cali Thistle beating treble winning team 1-0 at Ibrox in April. I'm old enough to remember Walter Smith's team getting beat 3-2 by Dundee United, and then Walter going on a 9-game run, unbeaten run. He won 8 out of that 9, which won the league. So I was just prepared to say, right, it's an off day. It has to be an off day. As painful as it is, we need to kind of react to that. So, and I think it'll happen again. I think there'll be ups and downs and twists and turns. And, don't forget that Celtic the week before, it took them 94 minutes to beat Motherwell. And they were mightily close again. And this will happen again with them. And, they're not where I think they were last year. Certainly not. They've lost a lot of decent players and stuff. So these games will be closer. I don't see them blowing many teams away. That's for sure. So it's going to be, and likewise, to be perfectly fair, I'm not sure Rangers have got it in them to blow many teams away with our forward line the way it is. So this is going to be a close run in. I think it's, you could end up with a close run in and then playing them at Hampden in the final, which I think, couldn't be scripted. If Rangers are going for a treble, they might be going for a double, and we might have to win to try and get the cup double or try and win the league or try and treble, with the league and stuff. So that could be epic, but there's a long way to go before that happens. I think that what Rangers need to do first game back against Hibs next week is put the gauntlet down. They play on a Sunday, so go and put in a really strong performance against Hibs and just go, we've reset, we're fresh, we're ready to go. We'll see you at Ibrox next Sunday, and then really go and put a marker down. I'm with you, genuinely, as I said, and you agreed, and I think everybody's saying that next few home games, are vital that we go and get maximum points and really go and put a glove on them properly, because they'll think, I seen a thing earlier on with Alistair Johnson laughing when he was asked about Rangers and stuff. They still think we're a joke, and they're still arrogant enough to think that they'll win this league and it'll not be a problem because we can't touch them. And that's what they think. Well, now's the time, because if we do manage to beat them and then get that game in hand, we'll play them pretty quickly at Parkhead. And that's a different kind of pressure for them, where they have to beat us and have to win. And we can go there knowing that maybe a draw might do in terms of where we need to be. But what happens if we sneak it at that point? And mind games are massive in run-ins, mate. And yeah, that's 4 or 5 games down the line, but it's not as far away as what we might think. And it's really important that Rangers just win against them and win against Hibs first, and then say, right, now we're setting the pace, and now you've got to catch us and see where it takes us. So I think we can do it. Like, genuinely, I think we can do it. And I've got a lot more belief in them, but I'm not getting any further ahead of myself than thinking about Hibs before I worry about them and what's going to happen next. And I know we've speculated and we've said about different scenarios, but we want to make sure it's in our own hand and go and do it. And you know what I mean? I genuinely think that Tavernier, I think that your Lundstroms, I think your Goldsons, the guys that we panned earlier on in the season, are going to have a massive effect on how this goes. And I do think that Todd Cantwell, Tom Lawrence, hopefully Seema, if he's coming back, Fabio Silva, these guys can make themselves heroes. And under a man that I really think, and Philip Clement, knows what he's doing and is able to guide them the way that he's won them in previous years. Because don't forget, Philip Clement's a winner. He's got 3 titles in Belgium, and he's been through all this before. Alex Ray's a winner. He knows how to do it. And there's that experience there. And then you've got guys like Butland and things like that who are huge presences. So I think we're looking all right, mate. And I think we're in good shape to go and give this a real good challenge, and hopefully we can.
That's it, mate. That's what it's all about. And it won't be, there will be many times, probably for the rest of the season, the remaining games, that you'll hear Ali and I, after leaving Ibrox, saying Rangers are going to kill me one day, because it will happen.
Yeah.
There's going to be moments where your heart's in your mouth. There's going to be moments where it's sweaty palms. There's going to be moments where it's last minute winners. All that's going to happen. It really is. It's going to be one hell of a ride, and everybody keeps saying it, but it's true. Strap yourself in. But you're right. Rangers have to show that they're ready, and that all starts with Hibs. No further ahead. Don't look any further ahead towards. You've got a whole week to look towards the Old Firm. Rangers just have to be ready to go on Saturday, and we have to get 3 points. We have to go there. I would like to put a decent performance in. I would like the team to look a bit fresher and actually convincingly beat them. Comfortable 2-3-0 win, something along the lines of that, just to say, yeah, we're here and we're ready for the run in, and it's now over to them to show if they're ready for it or not. So yeah, very much looking forward to it, and hopefully next time you're on my podcast, Stevie, we could be treble winners, mate, which would be absolutely spectacular, would it not?
I would have laughed in your face if we'd spoken about this. I even still don't allow myself to kind of. I know we've laughed and joked about it, folks, and I've said it a couple of times, and Scott has as well, and we've joked about, it would be great if both the teams, the women and the men, could do a treble, but genuinely, and we've speculated a wee bit, absolutely, but all focus on Hibs. As you said, Scott, I think it's really important, get a good victory, put a wee marker down and say, yeah, we're fresh and we're ready to go, and we've got guys that are firing. I'd love to see Todd Cantwell back to where Todd Cantwell can be. Before the injury, I thought Todd Cantwell was starting to really affect Rangers games. Tom Lawrence looking strong, scoring goals. Could Fabio Silva grow into a player that we think he or hope he could be? Just that kind of form to click. We're due a wee bit of luck with the squad, so if that could happen, then I think we'll be in pretty decent shape to have a go and make it a challenge. Nobody's writing them off. They're a good side and they're champions for a reason. And they've been through all this before, maybe at points. So we need to realise that. And they're not going to go away, I don't think. So we've got to be mindful of that. But we can rock them. I think we can. I think we can go toe-to-toe with them. Certainly, I'm not saying that we're definitely going to beat them or whatever, but we can go toe-to-toe with them and just like we did with Benfica and stuff. So it's going to be interesting, mate. It's not going to be for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
No.
But let's hope we can do it. And yeah, it'd be great to be on the podcast next month, looking at the last 4 or 5 games, being in a really healthy position, wouldn't it? So
Yeah.
let's hope we can.
Let's hope so, mate. Let's hope so. But yeah, I am going to age over the next couple of months. I will tell everybody that for certain. I will certainly age. That's what Rangers do to you. It really is. No, fantastic, Steve. Always a pleasure to have you on. Before I go, last time you were on, how's your Football Manager campaign going, mate? We got the end of the season from the last time we spoke? Did you
Yeah,
win?
mate.
Have you
So
chucked it and started a new game like me? Because I have. Mine went terribly wrong.
I'm 12 seasons in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland. So Erling was a free at 33 years old, and normally I have a no 30-year-old policy. If you're over 30 or 30, I don't sign you. But it's Erling, and because of my previous Football Manager relationship with him, I got him in. And the first season, he got 52 goals, and then went on a huff because Saudi Arabia came calling, and 30 million wasn't enough even at that age. And I kept him, and he got out of his huff quite quickly. And we're now at, I think we're February or March in his second season, and he's got 40. He's just a wonderful human, like Football Manager terms. So he's like, remember in the old golden days of Football Manager, you used to get like Mark Kerr and Treble West
Yes.
and that kind of
Yes,
stuff. Well,
Treble West. Yeah, Treble
he's
West.
just like a really big. You can't sign him because obviously you don't have the money for that. But if you get him when he's old and he's free, he's still wonderful in it. So that's giving me a lot of joy at the moment. So yeah, I'll keep him until he's 39 and chucks it.
Yeah, I made went as you made went terribly wrong, mate, and I started all over again. But I actually went through a period where I didn't play it for a long time, just due to other stuff being on. So when I went back to it, I think we said last time, I went back and I thought I've got no idea what I'm playing or who I'm playing where. I've got no idea what my approach is here. So yeah, I need to get myself back into it. But I did restart my game, so I'm on Rangers take 2. So I'll put it that way. I'm on Rangers take 2. But no, Stevie, we'll leave it there for tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, mate.
Yeah, listen, mate. Always a pleasure. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for the invite on as well. Let's hope when I'm back next month, mate, that we're looking pretty good. So that's all we can do. One game at a time, everything from everyone.
Exactly that. We will be back on Friday with Club Live as we do preview the Hibs game and the return of Rangers action. Thank you again to Stevie for joining me. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.